Kelly Ripa had an unexpected wardrobe mishap on the December 9th episode of Live, and she didn't shy away from addressing it. Mark Consuelos kicked off the show by asking his wife, "Are you getting dressed?" "I'm still getting dressed," Kelly admitted. "Hey guys, I'm not going to lie. 10 seconds ago, I was not dressed at all. And now I'm sort of half-dressed." Mark then playfully attempted to steal a glance at his wife's blouse while she was adjusting it. "Let me see. Let me check you out," he said. No, I'm missing a lot of things." "I'm missing a belt," replied Kelly. Mark tried to ease the moment by reassuring his wife that she looked perfectly fine. "It looks good," he said. "Look, it's fine. We're all together," added Kelly. "I think my fly is up. We're fine. Somehow we made it." The hectic beginning spilled into the rest of the show, as Kelly revealed it had been a particularly chaotic morning. "You still have a lozenge in your mouth." "I have a piece of gum in my mouth," said Mark. "You were banging on the door, and I kept screaming, 'No,'" replied Kelly. Mark, who shares kids Michael, Lola, and Joaquin with his wife, joined Live officially in 2023 following Ryan Seacrest's departure. Ryan left the show due to the demands of traveling back and forth between his home in Los Angeles and the studio in New York, as well as his desire to focus on other projects. Back in July, Kelly revealed that she and Mark were initially hesitant about sharing the spotlight together. In an interview on the Not Skinny But Not Fat podcast, Kelly admitted that Mark had an unexpected reaction when he was first offered the permanent role on ABC. "It was really about convincing Mark," she explained. "Because initially when they came to Mark, he flat out refused. I also thought that was kind of a bad idea," she shared. "I was like, a husband and a wife hosting a morning show is different from a husband and wife acting together or producing something together." Despite the couple's initial hesitation, they have proved popular with television fans. "The audience really responds to Mark because Mark has a give zero expletive attitude," Kelly said. "And the audience loves that. There's no artifice with him. If he hates something, he hates it out loud no matter how much we're supposed to love it. And when he thinks something is dumb, he says it no matter how much we're supposed to pretend to like whatever the thing is." Back in April, the show moved to a brand new studio at 7 Hudson Square, following over 4 decades at their Upper West Side home at 7 Lincoln Square. Kelly described the Walt Disney headquarters as 1.2 million square feet. "Welcome to our glistening new studio," Kelly said at the time, with the camera panning to showcase not just the large, sleek space, but also the view behind them, markedly different from the previous set. Live's former home boasted a still image of the New York City skyline, while their new home has floor-to-ceiling windows that showcase the actual sights of NYC. Kelly Ripa had experienced chaotic mornings before. She'd sprinted down studio hallways in mismatched shoes, gotten halfway through monologue segments with bobby pins still dangling from her hair, even once done an entire cooking demo wearing an earpiece she had forgotten to connect to anything at all. But never, not in her decades of live television, had she started a show literally half-dressed. Yet here she was. 10 seconds ago, she had been standing in her dressing room in nothing but a slip, staring down a blouse with the kind of exasperation a person usually saved for malfunctioning technology or insurance paperwork. And now, with her blouse only half-buttoned, her hair not quite sprayed, and her belt nowhere in sight, she was being rushed to set by a frantic stage manager who kept muttering something about, "We're live in 10, Kelly. 10 no. Now it's 8. Okay, 6. Oh, dear God." Kelly rushed through the corridor, hopping slightly as she tried to pull her skirt straight. Mark was already at the edge of the set, mic pack clipped, tie in place, looking irritatingly calm, An actor's years of hitting cues and marks serving him well. He'd been ready early. Of course he had. He watched his wife approach in a flurry of fabric, papers, and half-formed sentences. "Are you getting dressed?" he teased, eyebrows raised. Kelly shot him a look that would have incinerated a lesser man. "I'm still getting dressed," she declared, stopping in front of him while tugging at her blouse. "I'm not going to lie. 10 seconds ago, I was not dressed at all. And now I am sort of half-dressed." "Looks good," he said cheerfully. She let out an incredulous laugh. "Mark, I'm missing a belt." "Who needs a belt? Belts are oppressive." He leaned in, trying to peek. "Let me see. Let me check you out." "No." She swatted his hand. "I am missing a lot of things. A lot of things." But the crew was already counting down. The theme music swelled. The audience clapped. The lights blasted on. And we're live. Kelly let out a quick, whispered prayer to the morning show gods, plastered on a smile that was only partly hysterical, and marched with her husband onto the new, gleaming set of Live. Somehow, impossibly, she made it. Sort of. The moment they sat down, Kelly did a discreet check of her zipper, her blouse buttons, and whether her skirt was facing the right direction. The camera went live, and the crowd roared pleasantly. They always did. The energy in the new Hudson Square studio was bigger, brighter, more open than their former digs. Mark leaned toward her and whispered, "Don't forget to spit out your gum." Kelly's eyes widened. "You didn't spit out your lozenge. You spit yours first," he murmured. "You go. We can do it at the same time." "What is this, the Notebook?" she hissed. They sat smiling, teeth white, eyes sparkling, both chewing things they absolutely should not be chewing on air. Finally, during a video clip, Kelly grabbed a tissue with the stealth of a stage magician and disposed of the gum without detection. Mark, however, fumbled. The camera returned to them just as he attempted to discreetly palm his throat lozenge. The studio audience erupted into laughter. The control room may or may not have replayed the moment immediately on the giant monitors behind them. Kelly sighed. "We're professionals," she said to the viewers, "and as you can see, we're really committed to the craft." It was medicinal. Mark insisted to the audience, holding up his hands. "I was forced to take it, against my will." Kelly rolled her eyes. "Oh yes, someone definitely held you down and made you take a honey lemon lozenge. Tragic." The audience loved it. The chemistry that had made the network nervous at first, wondering whether spouses could host together without devolving into bickering or unseemly cuteness, was the very thing viewers now tuned in for. They weren't watching Kelly and Mark host a show. They were watching a marriage, imperfect, chaotic, affectionate, played out every morning with millions of witnesses. As they transitioned to their host chat segment, the story of their morning unraveled like a comedic thriller. "You still have gum in your mouth," Mark suddenly murmured. "I swallowed it," Kelly whispered loudly. "Thanks for bringing it up. Is that safe? I'm still here, aren't I?" Mark leaned back in his chair. "Anyway, you refused to open the bathroom door when I knocked." The audience chuckled. Kelly turned to them with disbelief. "He was banging on the door like he was the FBI, and I was a high-profile fugitive." "You were in there forever," he said. "I was doing eyeliner." "You sounded panicked." "I'm always panicked when doing eyeliner." The banter rolled naturally as it always did, each lobbed line coming back with a sharper punch of humor. Their timing was perfect, so perfect that sometimes people online speculated it had to be scripted. It wasn't. Their life, for better or worse, was simply like this. And then, Kelly continued. I walked out to get dressed and realized I had approximately 45 seconds to do what normally takes, 2 minutes. Lies, Mark said. It takes at least 10. You're such a betrayer. The audience laughed again. Mark held up his hands innocently. I'm just saying. Betrayer. He turned to the camera. I live with this. Kelly shot him a playful glare. You're lucky you're handsome. Well, he said smugly, that's why the network hired me. Later, when they cut to commercial, Mark leaned back in the chair and let out a quiet exhale. Kelly glanced over at him, amused. What? She asked. Nothing. Tell me. He chuckled. I was just thinking about when they offered me the job. Kelly snorted. Classic. The world thinks you leapt at the chance. I rejected it so hard I think the walls shook. You flat out refused, she said, clapping her hands for emphasis. And then I had to convince you. Me. After they came to me and said, we think Mark would be great. And I said, are you out of your minds? Mark nodded. I didn't want us to mix work with everything else. Kelly softened because she remembered those conversations vividly. They'd been on their front porch, summer heat buzzing, kids popping in and out of the house, a quiet fear threading through the air. What if we ruin it? She had asked him. What if the show changes us? Mark had held her hand and said, then we won't do it. But it had felt like the right next chapter.